So this is a video resource on how to do evidence collection on the Social Sciences Citation Index, which is probably the highest quality citation index in the whole field of the social sciences in the world. So say you've been asked to conduct an evidence-based literature review of academic research-based papers on topics so like Machiavellian leadership, narcissistic leadership, or psychopathic leadership, or even religious discrimination in the workplace, whistleblowing in the workplace, putting those in there because I want to give a few examples for how this might actually be done. And you're asked to give an overview of the history of research area and the current findings of the concept, and then give some conclusions based on it, and perhaps identify a future research question that isn't there in the literature. This is how you use the Social Sciences Citation Index to actually do that. The first step, of course, is because we're using Maynooth University Library databases, which are excellent, you're going to have to find the Social Sciences Citation Index on that website. So start off by going to www.maynoothuniversity.ie/library. So here we are on the Maynooth University Library webpage, going up to the URL here at the top, and I'm going to put in Maynooth University/library, leads us over here. Go over here to the left hand side and you scroll down past using the library on the left, library chat, also in this section to quick links, and underneath quick links you've got A to Z of databases. That's what you're using, not library search. You're going to the A to Z of databases because your search only goes through the Social Sciences Citation Index. Come over here to S, click on S for Social Sciences Citation Index and scroll down until you find it. You see above it you got the Social Science Premium Collection. Don't use that, use the Social Sciences Citation Index only. If I'm going a bit too quick, these are in the slides and we'll recap them in a minute or two, okay? So here we are. This is what the search term that opens up for us here in front of us. You're now inside the Social Sciences Citation Index. You have a box here where you put in your search term, and then you have you can choose whether to search by topic, title, author, publication name. Because we're doing an initial search, we're going to just quickly look at the difference between topic and title. So I put in the words narcissistic leadership, and I put them in inverted commas to keep them together, and I click on it, and we'll look at other variations of doing this in a second, and I click on it for a topic search. Those two words together, narcissistic leadership, only 18 hits come up together. You'll see that it doesn't appear in that one there at the top, but it's highlighted in the next one, because a topic search searches the abstract, that's the summary of the article, keywords, and the title. So if it finds it in any one of those, it'll bring it up. On the other hand, if you wanted to just look at those in terms of a title search, just articles with those two words together in the title, you get 8. So you got rid of 10 of them there altogether. It's still far too small. So you can see the 8 articles that have those titles in there. So when you're doing your literature search, and this is something that you're going to have to write up, and in the next video we'll look at how the writing up of this actually happens. How do we throw the net a little bit broad there? I mean, what we will get is all hits with the word, even in a topic search. Change that to topic. That will the word narcissistic will be found, but narcissism won't, narcissist won't, and narcissist plurals won't. So how do we make that a bit broader? How do we broaden that out? The answer is that you find a place in the word, and you so say we want to include narcissism or narcissist around there, and you introduce an asterisk. That's called a wildcard, and that means that the word narcissism, it'll look for that search term, but also all of the variations of it afterwards. We're going to add another row because we want to look at leadership as well. But if you put in the search term leader, make sure you always have that clicked to and. But if you put in the search term leadership, you'll miss leaders, leaderful, leader, narcissism, and leaders, or whatever that. I'm sorry to see up here. This is make sure the asterisk is where it needs to be, and I run this search. So these are called search strings. Okay. Come back to this in a second. These are search strings that get it, and you get 372 hits. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to scroll down a little bit here and get rid of everything that isn't an article or a review article. Everything else is not really early access, possibly, but let's just look at article, and review articles, because these are the research-based ones. And you see here it says refine, you're clicking on refine. You don't want editorials, you don't want book reviews, you just want stuff that has been published so far. And these are, because it's topic search, you won't get the full variation on the title, but this is basically everything where that has narcissism and leadership in it included together. You could probably group them together and make them a little bit small if you want to. So there's the articles and that. So we reduced that, I think, by about 20 or so to down to 358. Now, what are the next steps? How can you develop an insight into these, what we call the headline results from your search? There are two things to do. Over here, analyze results and create citation report. I'll give you a sense. This tells you where the research energy is around this. And these are things that you can comment on. So everything with narcissism and leadership and a combination of that in their title, this tells you where the energy is on these. So I click this and here's what it does. First of all, it gives you the Web of Science categories and it represents them visually there. The single biggest field is management. Okay. After that, they're mainly psychology, 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 a little bit of ethics, social sciences, a bit of political science. It's mainly psychology, but if you look at it, management and business are a huge field in this. Okay, so they're really, really important pieces of work on that. Another thing that we can look at are the publication years. Look at this. We're only up to the very start of April, and we're already got a lot of stuff published in it. But what this tells you that over the last few years, there's been a bit of a spike. So the interest in narcissistic leadership has really began to expand from about 2018 on. Now, these are peer-reviewed journals, so they can take up to 2 years to get published, at worst. So we can see that energy beginning back here around 2016, people writing about narcissistic leadership. No comment on why that might be. That's the publication years. Another really interesting way of looking into where this energy comes from is this will tell you the journals where these articles are most published. And journals are interesting because they're specific to a discipline. You've got ones that look at, viruses, you've got ones that look at epidemiology, and these are the journals. These are the title of the journals where most of this stuff comes through from. Personality and individual differences is the biggest one. That is one that is actually used a lot in business studies as well. Leadership Quality is a business journal, a leadership of business as well. The Journal of Business Ethics. Most of the research, what this tells you, in this area comes from the Journal of Business Ethics, right? You want to see a breakdown of the overall percentage. They're just kind of the top 10, but you want to look at what more of them are. You can see that the huge prevalence of business journals in these. So what you got is of all the articles with variations of narcissism and leadership or narcissistic leaders in it, of the 358, nearly 10% are in that one, but then nearly 6.5% are in the Journal of Business Ethics. So you're able to make a comment here about which parts of business studies and management studies are actually talking and which parts of psychology are interested in this field. So you're given an overview and a sense of what the field is and how it develops. Okay. So once again, you're going down to the left-hand side of the library page, you're scrolling down, going to the Social Sciences Citation Index, log in if you're off campus, and then do a few experiments between topic and title search. Make sure you don't mix the two of them up though as well. And once again, the title will probably reduce it a little bit. Topic will throw the net a bit broader. And if your search results are too big, you might consider doing a title search. If it's too big, if it's too small, use a wildcard character. Maybe do a topic search. I've got a few examples in the slides that are also provided there. Say for example, if you were doing one on religious discrimination in the workplace, you might miss out on discrimination on the grounds of religion in the workplace. So the wildcards that you could possibly use are religio wildcard, that'll capture religion, religiosity, etc. Work wildcard will capture work, working, workers, workplaces. Likewise, narcissistic leadership, the examples that are given there, narcissists, and wildcard will capture more. Same with leader. And then you select the document types for reviews. I'm only interested in article and review articles only because they are research based, or the reviews of your data. They should reduce your articles considerably. Analyze them by, when you're analyzing results by category, year, source titles, gives you a sense of the main fields in which the research has been done. That's a good overview to give at the start. The next one is creating a citation report. And I'll talk a little bit about this in the next video as well, which is going to give you a sense of the growth of the field. but will also be really useful in helping you identify a quality definition and background article for your project. Remember the outline that I talked at the back for the sample, at the first slide for the sample article, saying, talk a little bit, define it. What is it? Your definition can't be one random one that you pick out of Google somewhere. It has to be. It's better to say that it comes from a really well-established piece of work in the field that you're studying. So again, where you find those, once you've completed your search, your analyze result button up there, be underneath the citation report. So the citation report is like this. This is what you can get from it. So I click on the citation report button, and it gives you this, and it'll give you graphs of total publications, the amount that's been published over the years. You've already seen that, but also the sheer spike in when did other academics begin to cite each other's work on this, and just what was the growth rate like? And you can see there's a huge amount of work in there. This is something I'm going to talk about the next video. And this is interesting because if you look at this, this gives you the most cited works in the field. And this one here is, does self-esteem cause better performance? This is from psychological science. But if you look down at the next one, it's a meta-analysis of the dark triad of work behavior, a social exchange perspective. And that's the second most cited one of the lot. That means that this is one that a lot of other journalists have used. Writers have used. It's older. It's younger than this one. It's May 2012, and it's been the second most cited one in a very big field, which means that this might be an article that has the most up-to-date, because it's a review as well, the most up-to-date definition or description of what the topic of narcissistic leadership is. So you're looking inside the Create Citation Report to do that. We'll have a look at that again, as I say, in the next video. But what do you do with these results once you have them and you want to share them with your colleagues or other people who are reviewing it with you? Okay, I've reduced the search term because just running out of time in the video. I want to make sure that I capture everything in. So say you got 18 results, it'd be bigger than that. Select everything that's on the page by doing this. Click this button here. Add it to the marked list. Okay. So they're all added to your marked list now. Oh, there was only 10 on the page there. So what I need to do is go down to the bottom of the page, show more than that. I'm going to show 50 per page. That's the maximum you can show. Once again, I'm going to select the page. See, there's 18 results for this one. There'll be more for your ones there. Add everything to the marked list. And there's our marked list. Now I go to marked list and I click on it. And this allows you to print these to a PDF file. Watch this. All records on this list, I go down here to make sure that these are clicked. Watch this. I'm clicking authors and abstract. I can get rid of other ones. I need the author, the abstract, the title of the article, possibly the language, and the source, which is the journal title. So you see those? Author, abstract, title, source. That's all I need. I'm clicking on export. And then when I click on that, go down these options and I click to print. And what this does is it brings you up that list as a PDF document. Now you can click on it and print it to a PDF or scroll it or do whatever you want to share with your colleagues. And that gives you a list of all of those articles, the article abstracts. Abstracts are really useful because you can drill through them fairly quickly. You can divide them up in a group and help them to be shared out in different ways. Okay. And share them out amongst your colleagues so you can look through them and look what it asks, the fundamental question of what ethical leadership is, and you can see whether articles are relevant or not. Okay, so this is the first stage of getting it. Now, one thing I will say that I find useful myself is I do print these as a PDF. I click print. My destination printer there is Microsoft Print to PDF. Then I can print it and save it to my desktop and email it to my other teammates. Okay, so that's how you get to that. In the next session, I'm going to go back to the citation alert so you can get a sense of how to use identify what the most used definition of something is and different ways for thinking about that to prove that you've done kind of some quality in your research. Then I'm also going to talk a little bit about how you actually write this up when you're doing your report, page unresponsive. Okay.